those things because whenever we learn how to adapt to our different environments, we become an active listener. And in order to be an active listener, it requires awareness. If we're not even awake while you're playing your movie or the lecture is playing, then we don't get anything out of it. We have to be active. We have to put on our active listening ears. And, you know, as I was doing my research, I found that we spend 60% of our day listening to everything around us, the noise and all that, all around us, but we only retain 25% of it. That's all we hear is 25% of what everybody is saying. So maybe I'm in your 25% tonight. And that's something, though, because out of everything that we hear throughout the whole day, we don't even take most of it in. Ain't that something? Wow. So let me ask you a question. How good are your listening skills? Do you hear what you want to hear, or do you hear what the message is really saying clear? Anybody can answer.
For me, when somebody's talking, I'll be hearing them and understanding, but at the same time, I think they're not telling it how it should be because I feel like something is always missing in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Would anybody else like to speak on that? How good is your listening skill? I tell you, sometimes my listening skills, it goes slam out the window according to who I'm talking to. If I'm interested in what you're saying, I'm going to sit there and I will talk with you all night long because I'm a talker. But if I'm not interested in what you're saying, I'll get really, really quiet. That's the one time when I get really, really quiet. And I will give you an example of when my listening skills are not good. My listening skills are not good when I first meet a guy. And I like to keep it real. When I first meet a guy and they start off talking good, and then all of a sudden the conversation drops down to sex or little hints about sex, I tune completely out. I tune completely out. The conversation is now no longer active for me. Now my listening ears, my active ears have left the building. because it's not interesting to me. So somebody name a time when you did not hear the message clear and it caused a problem, whether it was on your job, maybe with your relationship. And this happens all the time.
For me, mine would be when the conversation come up about the finances. Because sometimes at that point there's nothing you can do, and it's like the person already knows it, and then you just tune out.
So what do you say? You're the one relating the message? You're the one speaking the message, and they're not paying attention?
No, if they ask me about, say like a bill needs to be paid, a bill collector call, and you tell them that you just going to have to wait because you don't have the money at the time to pay it, and they just keep on talking, threatening you about getting the money. And from there, I tune out and hang up.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Pretty much. That's pretty much America. We tune out the bill collectors. Pretty much. Does anybody else have a time whenever you might have didn't hear as clear as you thought you did, or didn't understand what you was hearing?
You know what? I do that sometimes when I ain't gonna lie. First, if I'm listening to somebody talking first, and I get a phone call, then my attention goes towards the phone call, and it's hard for me. And especially when I'm on the phone, I tune out because it's hard for me to talk to people at, one time.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And we do have to tune out. How about whenever you're in a restaurant eating? I saw you went out. But how about whenever you're in a restaurant eating, do you ever pay attention to what sound is being made in that restaurant?
I hear a lot of clicking sounds.
I hear people thinking.
I hear clicking sounds from the pots and pans.
Oh, yeah.
I hear people taking their teeth and scraping the fork. Ooh, I can't stand that.
See, that is part of the filters. That's part of the filters in listening. Whenever we hear certain things, we filter out what we're really supposed to be listening to. And, sometimes that is the person, maybe it's our significant other in front of us talking, and all of a sudden we hear those pans going off, and the pans call our attention instead of what they were saying. Instead of enjoying the meal and listening to who was talking to you, now you're listening to pots and pans. So that's part of the filtering process that I was going to talk about also, because we listen for differences in each environment that we go to. When we go to a restaurant, we do tend to listen for that sound of who's cooking, what are they saying in the back. We want to know. And all of a sudden, that has our ear. That has our ear. That's what we're listening to. We're not even paying attention to how much our food is really costing until the total actually comes up, because we are filtering out like that. We are paying attention to the culture and what languages are being spoken, different values in the not relationship, in whatever area that we're at. We're paying attention to what the beliefs are, what attitudes are going on around us, what are our expectations, We're paying attention to all that stuff. That is our filters, which helps us. It helps us in a way it distracts us from what we really need to be hearing. What we really need to be hearing. And that's what you call the pattern of sound, that I was talking about earlier. And an example of that is, let me see here, I got my notes. An example of that is your intentions. Sometimes we'll listen to a person's intentions, and all we hear is the part that we want to hear. Now, I'm going to use, for example, somebody's bill. I'm going to use somebody's bill, for example. When people talk to us and speak to us, we literally take in their words sometimes, but we only hear the main parts of what they're saying. Say if somebody passed away and they came to you, I remember when our daddy died, a lot of people came to us and said, if you ever need anything, we're here for you. Now, the thing about it, those people never followed up with those good intentions. Maybe one or two did, but the majority of them didn't follow up with good intentions. But we heard, we listened, we processed. What we processed was that if anything happened, if we needed anything, that you would be there for us. But that didn't happen. So therefore, y'all, excuse me, let me get a drink of water. Okay. We heard what they were saying, and by us hearing that, we also knew that people fall short every day of, we fall short every day of words that we put out that we sometimes can't keep for whatever reason. So I want to tell y'all this. If you could close your eyes right now, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to hear what's around you. I want you to hear what's around you. I want you to focus on just hearing. Are y'all eyes closed? Uh-huh. What are the different noises that you are hearing right now? I hear a dog barking.
TV, dog barking, I hear my husband.
Okay. Kenny, what are you hearing?
I hear, I'm in the bedroom, but I hear piece of the TV.
Be quiet.
Okay. So see, just like we learned in school, sometimes when we take away one sense, the other senses get stronger. When we close our eyes and we're in a room by ourselves, when we are in a room by ourselves, and I know it's pretty hard to do right now. Chris, could you mute though, because that dog is kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute that. Hold on.
Okay, but you can come back in whenever like I get into a question or something. Okay. Okay, so whenever we do close our eyes, that takes away our sense of seeing, our visualization. It takes that away from us, which allows us to be able to hear more. And guess what? We also try to feel more. We hear, touch, and feel more whenever we close our eyes. So we learn how to distinguish the different types of sounds that may be around us. Now, I did this experiment earlier. And just by closing your eyes and listening to the sounds around you, I could tell that I was in a home and I was in here by myself. But what I did hear, I heard my heat going. I heard some walls cracking. I could also hear a little drip, which I usually wouldn't pay attention to. But I heard that drip. I heard that little drip somewhere in one of them bathrooms, and I went and I cut it off. And so listening is so important. It's so important, y'all. Technology is really got us to the point where we can be lazy. It's got us to the point where we have even computers that speak for us, computers that work for us, and they don't necessarily hear all the time for us, but they, because of technology, we don't have efficient, effective communication. We don't have good communication with people because of technology. Technology kind of dumb it us down. Whenever you text, do you even text a full message where a person can really understand what you're saying, or do you text a little piece of a sentence and be like, okay? That's a difference right there because of technology. Technology has made it so hard to the point where people just don't use their senses to full capacity. And that hurts us in the long run because whenever we do come off the telephone and we have to get with somebody in person, we're used to looking down. And we can't look people directly in the eyes and hear and relate to what they're saying. Some people will come to you and they will have a message for you, but it's hard to relate whenever we have been so used to using the computers and cell phones to do everything for us. And that's why it's important that we learn how to process our listening, what we hear mentally. It's a mental process. So there are 4 different types of listeners. I got to get some more water. There are 4 different types of listeners. You can write this down. The first type is time-oriented. Those types that are time or pressed for time, they are more concerned with efficiency. They don't want to know the whole story. They just want facts to be clear and on point. I can relate. I have to do that according to my environment. Whenever I receive demos in, I can't accept demos in a long conversation. I need because it's just too many people. I need whoever is sending me a demo to talk to me, to make it short, make it plain and clear so I can get on to the next person. Those are time-oriented people.